Well, I'm Kenny McCaskill. I'm the chair of the Scottish Anti-Illicit Trade Group. This brings together law enforcement, public sector agencies, trade protection and of course the private sector to try and ensure people don't suffer from retail fraud and that legitimate trade is protected. Well, it affects everybody who's shopping online, and indeed it affects all of our communities because we all suffer as a result of this. Trade is changing, more people are buying online, but as a consequence crime is following them. So we've got to protect our people, we've got to protect our businesses, and we've got to protect our communities. So it's not just about looking after the interests of private companies, it's about looking after the interests of those who buy these goods believing them to be genuine but suffer as a consequence, and also about people who work hard, pay their taxes in businesses that contribute to the economy and actually close because they've been undermined by goods from abroad that don't. So the scale is massive, we know that, we do know what's reported, but I think we also recognise that that's just the tip of the iceberg. Many people probably suffer, and sadly suffer in silence. I think most people are aware that there's illicit alcohol and tobacco, but it's far, far wider than that. It's not simply designer goods, the winning clubs, football strips, the designer bags to the new smartphones. It goes far deeper and wider than that. It's also technical goods that companies might buy thinking that they're just getting a cheaper brand online than elsewhere. So engineering goods are susceptible to it. Toys for children are susceptible to it and are very dangerous often because they have chemicals that are damaging to the child. It also includes powdered milk that parents buy thinking that they're getting a bargain or storing up, and that can actually be poisonous for children. So it's everything and anything. It's not just what we normally think of was sold out a white van or out of a shop that popped up. It's got to be looked at by everybody because it potentially affects everything, and the consequences for the parents and the children that get either those toys that they thought were good for Christmas or birthdays, or indeed the powdered milk that they just thought was cheaper than what they bought elsewhere, are calamitous. People get hurt, they buy medicines believing them to be beneficial and they're not. They buy cigarettes, electronic or otherwise, believing that they're legitimate. They're actually dangerous. Equally, the trade that is legitimate is undermined. I can think of one particular high street brand that I won't name where there were over 3,000 websites selling fictitious goods. Now, people going online might go onto that just randomly looking to try and buy it, but they would be ripped off and robbed and might also lose their credit card details, because it's not simply sometimes that you don't get the goods that you think you're paying for. Equally, you also lose information that's vital and that can harm you. So this isn't a victimless crime, it's fueling serious organised crime. It's harming Scotland, it's harming legitimate trade. It's about not just protecting brands, it's about protecting communities. This is about raising awareness, because we know that people are now shopping online. I do it. Everybody does it. It's the way of the world. We're not trying to stop people doing that. But we want them to be able to go to something that's legitimate, to make sure that they don't hand over the details, so that they don't buy something that's false, dangerous or harmful to the rest of us, or indeed to them, that they do get something that they paid for and it's their hard-earned money, and they don't find that their information is used to empty their bank account or used to continue funding fraud and other illicit goods. So it's not about Big Brother finding the information or protecting the government's revenue or indeed big business profit. It's about making individuals safer and protecting our communities together. We're out to tackle it, and that's why we have this group, to bring together people from a variety of sectors, not just law enforcement, but trade that's losing out. The whole purpose of this is it isn't somebody else's job. It's not just the job of law enforcement. It's not just the job of trade companies to protect their brand. This affects all of us. A company won't be able to stop this on their own. They're going to have to work collectively, and that's why I think we benefit at the Anti-Illicit Trade Group by a sharing of information, because people who are doing some scamming in one sector are probably going to move on into another sector, so you can learn where the dangers are and what's coming down the line. You can learn what works in changing people's hearts and minds, mobilising our communities, so that people realise that if it's too good to be true, it actually is too good to be true. It's a win-win situation. What we see is that the community's safer. People will actually buy the goods that they want and won't faced having something that's poisonous or potentially calamitous for them. It will benefit the legitimate trade because they won't be undermined by people who are gangsters trying to drive them out of business. It will benefit the country and the communities because people who are hard working will continue to be able to remain in their jobs, businesses that contribute to the economy. And Scotland, the brand, won't suffer because a lot of what we make and take pride in is undermined by people who put forward fictitious goods that are shoddy and actually damage the whole brand image of Scotland. It's not just a message that has to go to one section of the community, it's got to go to all, and it's also got to go in methods that we know a younger generation use that perhaps my generation don't, that aren't reading the same papers that my generation did, that don't watch the same TV programmes. We've got to target them, we are, and as I say, I think with a bit more resource we can show the way to try and get that message through to them. We're in pole position here in Scotland. We have the outstanding resource because Police Scotland and other agencies have been doing remarkably good work. We're ahead of the game because we've been speaking to police down south who are coming up to look, listen and I think learn from us. It's global and it's not simply law enforcement or trade agencies here in Scotland or in the UK. The Intellectual Property Office, other EU agencies are all there seeking to work together. We work with them, we cooperate with them. The IPO are part of the group here, but they are, as I say, global and pan-European in scale. They have resource, they're looking for action. We work with them, we learn from them. We like to think they also learn from us. But there's opportunities for a lot more because there's so much work needs done.
So in terms of the European Union and all that is going on in terms of anti-illicit trading, do you know of any